Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name's Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning into the day's energies, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. All right, I hope this reading finds you happy and healthy and enjoying your journey to becoming more and more yourself. Happy Scorpio season. Hope you're enjoying the Scorpio season. All right. Oh, I love these cards. These are some new cards that one of my students suggested, and I'm loving this deck, the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed. Love the imagery. Let me know what you think. So, all right. The overall energy of this reading is the Eight of Swords. Gorgeous. So swords I see as upper chakras, communication, thoughts, beliefs, perspectives. So this person is stuck, trapped in their mind by beliefs. They're not really stuck, but their beliefs have them believing that they are stuck, that there are no options. Often in the imagery, the Eight of Swords, the person that's stuck also has a blindfold on. Their hands are tied, but they can easily, there's solutions everywhere. Their hands aren't tied tightly. They can cut the ropes on their hands on the sword. They can use the sword to take the blindfold off. There's solutions here. So there might be a willful ignorance, something you're not wanting to see. Something that's too uncomfortable to see. Let's see. Let's see what that is. Ooh, Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Rejecting an offer, a refusal, no, a rejected opportunity. It feels like a no, some opportunity. It feels like it's just a seed of potential. It's not fully formed, but it feels like what I'm seeing here is a limited perspective, limited beliefs, not being able to see something fully clearly. Even a learned helplessness. Maybe that's the story. I'm helpless in this situation. I'm stuck. But it feels like it might be a little bit of, you can get out of this, but it feels like this mentality is is keeping you from seeing potential, from taking opportunities. It feels like this stuckness is willful, keeping willfully blind to something, and it's keeping you blind, whatever this story is, from seeing opportunities, new pathways, new directions, because the story is so loud. The beliefs, the limiting beliefs are so loud. All right. So I've had some, let me see if I can give you some examples of how a story can be so loud in your space, so loud, your beliefs, that they affect your environment. So I had a story years ago of being alone, isolated. I was, to some extent, I was very isolated. I've been physically unwell for a long time, bedbound. And it created I'm alone pictures, I'm isolated, no one cares. So once you've got a belief like that, a limiting belief, something that is not true, but because we are creators, all of us, and this is a creative universe, and the universe is so loving and so cooperative that whatever you say, the universe is like, so be it. Whatever you believe, whatever you say, the universe is like, all right, yes. And so the more isolated I was, the more that belief, the more I felt it, the more I experienced more of those beliefs and attracting more and more and more. When I started taking psychic classes 11 years ago, I'm in this beautiful place with fellow classmates that are just absolutely lovely. And it's like a 15, 20 people in the premier class, the class I was in. And what's interesting is every time I'd sit down, I'd show up, the seats are in a circle, and no one would sit next to me. And finally, after 3 or 4 classes, my teacher said, that's a picture, that isolation picture, that no one cares, no one's there. If you could let go of that picture, then that belief, then people would sit next to you. I cleared that belief, and sure enough, I found community and friendships, and I wasn't isolated. Another example would be a client that I worked with. Their story, their limiting belief was that nobody could understand them, that it didn't matter what they said, that no one would believe them, that they couldn't communicate, people aren't able to hear them. They had a lot of throat chakra issues and beliefs around that. And since I do all my work right now online, they couldn't find the Zoom. They couldn't connect in. They were having issues with Zoom muting them. They were having issues where their communication would freeze constantly, and it was really difficult for them to communicate their ideas, and it was kind of piecemeal. So their beliefs, their limiting beliefs, were impacting their world, and it was difficult to understand this person. It was very difficult to communicate with them because of that belief. So whatever your story is, so be it. Whatever you're thinking about, and definitely the next level, when you start saying it, when you type it in to comments, whatever that story is, you are the writer of your story. You're the creator. So be mindful that you're not telling a story you don't like. Right? If you don't like your life, if you don't like your beliefs, don't make them concrete. Don't make them more intense, more strong, more, because, yeah. So a lot of times in the comment section, someone will say, this is my story and I've experienced this, and it's definitely not what they want. They don't want that. And I've been in that spot where I'm telling the story over and over and making it more real and attracting more of that same story. When I finally learned this and realized that I have the power to change my story, that really I'm in control of my story, my beliefs. And it took a while for that momentum of that story to die down, because I had to actively say, no, I don't want that. I'm choosing something different, a belief that's a little better, that I can believe in, that I believe is true. So like my story of I'm isolated, I'm alone, nobody cares. Instead, I'd be like, I've had a story of me being isolated and alone, and I'm learning to shift that belief. And I was like, okay, I believe that. Every part of me believed that. You can't start with like going from I'm isolated alone to I have friends and I'm celebrated and everyone loves me. You can't get to that from here. There's some belief systems that you've got to create a bridge your beliefs. So the next you believe what you're saying and change your beliefs to get you to where you prefer to be. Only you can do this, right? The call's coming from inside the house. All right. So it looks like there's been the overall energy of this reading is around limiting beliefs and how those limiting beliefs are keeping you blind to opportunities and potential. All right. That is amazing. I love this. In the hidden blessings, we have the Ace of Pentacles, now upright. If you remember, the Ace of Pentacles was in reverse, clarifying the Eight of Swords in the overall energy. So, hidden blessings are that there are new potential opportunities, new energy in the 3D, tangible, not fantasy, real. They're seeds of potential, so they're not fully formed. Seeds, you have to find the right soil to plant them in, the right opportunities with the right sunlight, watering, nurturing that seed of potential. All right. Tell me more about these hidden blessings. All right. We've got, King of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles reverse, with the Lovers coming out as a challenge to these energies. Blessings. It feels like you're creating stability for yourself. Pentacles definitely showing up in this reading in a powerful way. Taurus energy with the King of Pentacles. It feels like you're creating stability. You're choosing opportunities that you can nurture into existence. So it looks like you're wanting to create stability for yourself. And to do that, you have to change your beliefs. Feels like becoming more authentic. The Lovers was originally called the Choice. That's why. All right, see the six-pointed star here, Star of David, is also in the Ace of Pentacles in this imagery. And then there's a pentagon or a pentacle in the center. There's something here about you're challenged by the choices. I'm getting that twice with the Two of Pentacles in reverse. It feels like it's, well, let's find out. Why's the choice? Why am I getting choice or in the hidden blessing? Six of Cups, Ace of Cups. Another ace. Self-love. Okay, it looks like you're making different choices. Maybe about a relationship. Feels like you're choosing yourself instead of choosing someone who treats you as less than. Maybe in your family of origin, you also were treated as less than. I'm seeing you as this person. And whoever this other lover is, whoever, it feels like you're not being cared for, being neglected. Hey, I'm really cold and miserable here. Why do you always have to ruin things? Wait, but can you not see that we're not on equal grounds, that it's really cold and miserable? Why do you always have to bring that up? I get the feeling from your family of origin that you have tolerated less than treatment. Maybe it's created a limiting belief of how you see yourself. Maybe the limiting belief is, I'm a scapegoat, I'm not cared for, people don't care for me, care about me, something. But with all these aces, 2 Ace of Pentacles and an Ace of Cups, it feels like there's a potential here for new you with a new view and healing from that childhood wound, shifting that belief, learning how to love yourself, be in flow state. Feels like you're choosing you in whatever this is. Choosing a new direction, and that's the hidden blessing, is you choosing yourself, you getting out of whatever this limiting belief is that keeps you tolerating, accepting less than treatment from others, from people closest, just because it feels familiar to your nervous system, because maybe that's how you were treated in your family of origin, does not mean that you have to, it's a sentence. You can change your story. You can change your sentence. It looks like you're changing your story, as I'm perceiving, and that's the hidden blessing. New opportunities, loving yourself, healing from that limited belief system as maybe your first act of loving yourself is clearing limiting beliefs that you don't want, that you might have perceived as true at some point, and you've shown yourself as true, but you can also change that because you're a creative being. It looks like I'm seeing pentacles and cups in hidden blessings. There's something about you finding stability and new opportunities in the 3D, and heart healing, healing your emotions, healing how you perceive yourself, healing from those woundedness, that woundedness that's kept you limited in how you see yourself. All right, what you're leaving behind is the Ace of Swords in reverse. This is foundational lies. For me, I see the Ace of Swords in reverse as lies, deception, manipulation. It feels like the foundational lie here is how your family saw you, as a problem, as something about you that they believed about you that made you believe also about yourself, that you're a problem, that you deserve less than treatment, that your emotions are a problem, that your wants and needs are a problem, that you needing attention as a child, having needs and wants are a problem. Things like that, it feels like I'm kind of tuned into. And so you're leaving that behind, leaving those foundational beliefs. And again, another ace. 1, 2, 3, 4 aces. Oh. All right, so you're leaving these limiting beliefs behind you. 4 of Swords in reverse is my no contact, cutting contact. Feels like you might be cutting contact with people who just can't see you, can't see that you've changed, can't see any evolution, that are just so stuck in their perception of you. So they're not really seeing you. They're not seeing you evolve. They're not seeing you as a human. It feels like you might be leaving behind, cutting contact with people who just can't let go of their limiting beliefs around you. Feels like it's difficult enough for you to shift your own beliefs around yourself without having someone in your environment. Feels like they're purposely doing that. They don't want you to heal from this, to clear. Despite what their intentions or lack of intentions, I love that you're leaving that behind. And leaving behind others who can't see your evolution. That's okay. You don't have to convince them. It's not your job. When I've made big changes in who I am and cleared a lot of limiting beliefs, the people closest to me, it feels like they had the hardest time perceiving the change and the difference. And family has this way of just seeing you as old version. And so whoever this is that can't see you has got something negative, some limiting way. It looks like it's helpful if you leave that type of energy behind, at least for a while, at least until you get solid. All right. How to get the most of this energy is the 10 of Wands. Burdens. Carrying burdens, carrying a heavy load, carrying responsibilities. Feels like I'm getting that by keeping you in a limited space, perceiving yourself as limited, maybe even defective, which not true, but it feels like there are people who benefit from you having a low self-esteem, not seeing yourself clearly, not seeing the value that you bring, because it keeps you seeking validation outside of yourself, and they just deny your reality, deny your emotions, deny. And it looks like to try to prove yourself, then you do a lot. You do too much to try to show, to try to change that Ace of Swords into someone seeing your value, seeing your worth. And it feels like you're trying to prove. Maybe you've been stuck in doing a lot, carrying a lot of other people's burdens. Who benefits from you staying in this limited perspective? Do they benefit off of your emotional labor, mental labor, physical labor, sexual labor, spiritual labor? Feels like how to get the most of this energy is recognizing who benefits the most from keeping you in that limited perspective. Yeah, they don't want you to grow. They don't want you to evolve because it feels like you're doing a lot of work to prove, to try to change their mind. And it's benefiting them, all that hard work that you're doing to try to prove who you are. It feels like it might be purposeful that they keep you feeling like you don't have what it takes. Yeah. 5 of Pentacles reversed, 10 of Cups now. It looks like this reading, what I'm seeing is self-abandonment. Maybe your family of origin, by projecting their limitations onto you and making you believe that you're defective, that something's wrong with you, that you don't deserve what the rest do, has you proving and doing all the work. You abandon yourself to try to get their love and attention. Feels like you're trying to convince people who don't care about you, that benefit from you trying to prove yourself. They benefit from you not seeing yourself clearly. They benefit from your labor. It feels like your emotional labor and care. it feels like you might project your fantasies onto these, whoever is creating these limiting beliefs, projecting them onto you. It feels like they get you in your emotions and have you abandon yourself because maybe they're saying something like something's inherently wrong with you. You need to work twice as hard to prove to me. It doesn't work though. Just heads up. Anything that where you have to abandon yourself, that's not love, that's not care. And it has been my experience, if you chronically abandon yourself to try to get love and care from the people in your environment, then they just abandon you. They match that energy. You might have a belief that if I do all this work and labor, if I do all this caring, that eventually when I'm needing help, they will all show up and support me, and there might be that type of fantasy. But instead, when you haven't been practicing that, you've been practicing doing it all for everyone else to prove yourself. That activity of doing it all is not reciprocity. You haven't practiced receiving from them. You've been practicing overgiving, overdoing. And so the moment you find balance and stop abandoning yourself, it feels like a lot of upset from those who expect your labor, your energy, your care, for you to abandon yourself for them. They're not going to be happy around you creating independence, clearing these limited beliefs. All right, in regards to what's supporting you, we have the devil in reverse. Great imagery. She's in this cage. There's a key there. She could let herself out. And it looks like with the devil reversed, you might be freeing yourself from environments, from draining, exhausting relationships, trauma bonds, people perceiving and telling you that you're limited. All right, what would help the viewer? What would help support the viewer in releasing, setting themselves free? I'm hearing, I know why the caged bird sings, Maya Angelou. 3 of Swords reverse. I think you're tired of the betrayal, the triangulation, the manipulation, the heartbreak. It feels very healing. You can finally heal from the betrayal, heartbreak, when you detach. You can't heal in the same environments where you're being hurt. You can't heal in the same places, around the same people, in the environments where you're being hurt. It feels like there's a need to detach from the people and detach from the environments that are creating this limitation, creating this hurt. And it looks like once you detach, then you can start healing, pulling those swords from your own heart. All right. What to be mindful of is the King of Wands in reverse. This is someone very attractive. Very attractive. But inconsistent. They run hot and cold. A player. All right. So it looks like players, people who light you up, tell you what you want to hear, but they're inconsistent. It feels like that might be that might be someone in your shadow, someone that you can't see and that you're attracted to. Feels like this type of energy tells you what you want to hear. And in telling you what you want to hear, it feels like a miracle. But it's manipulation. They're manipulating, telling you what you want to hear so they can get what they want from you. So it feels like you might be attracted to people when they tell you what you want to hear. Playing your emotions. Playing your wounds, your unhealed wounds. A need to be wanted. Players come in pretty strong, charismatic, very attractive, and it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm chosen. I feel I'm not getting this treatment. Less than players, when they come in, make you feel like you're up here with them, that they see you, that they care about, but they're just telling you what you want to hear. They're playing in your wounds. Six of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, they don't want to invest long term. They're hot and cold. It also creates a chase. They want you to invest in them, but they don't want to invest in you. They breadcrumb you along. They get you hooked on that feeling of I'm chosen. Someone has chosen me. And it feels so good. But it's manipulation. It's manipulating those wounds. And it feels like whoever I'm talking to, you might be attracted to players who are getting you kind of stuck in this cycle. You feel chosen. You feel like this is the perfect one. And then when they shift up, because they do, they're inconsistent. Then you start chasing. They invest at the beginning, but it feels like diminishing returns, which gets you chasing. So be mindful of those energies. Feels like to make yourself invincible, to make a player non-threatening to you, feels like choosing yourself. Not looking for external validation, but choosing yourself, caring for yourself, investing in yourself. That's really what you're wanting. All right, anything else that the viewer needs to watch, be mindful of? Two of Cups reversed, Dark card reversed. A hopelessness after a breakup. So I'm getting both. Like, you don't want, what I'm perceiving is that you're not wanting to attract the same type of person. That person that hooks you in, makes you feel like at the beginning, like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. They sell you. They're so invested in you. But once you're hooked in, then they pull away. Then you chase. Then you start investing in them. Then you're attached. The other option is after a breakup, feeling hopeless. Like, I'm never going to meet anyone else. And I don't think either of those are true. I think being mindful of those who are players. Tell me more about this hopelessness. It feels like you've been in lesson. You've been learning how to relate, which is in your closest relationships. And it's been difficult because of beliefs from your family of origin, limiting beliefs about you. And it looks like there's a need to heal that. There's also, it feels like a need to It feels like when you get attached to a player who at first it feels like this is it. This feels so good. It's hitting all the right spots in so many different ways. And so you're hooked on a feeling and you just don't want that feeling to end. And once they pull away, you start investing more and more and more. This type of energy, this player, is playing off of your wounds, off your limited beliefs around yourself, that you can't see the value that you have. They're taking advantage of that. They're also taking advantage of your endless hopefulness. So I feel like it's good when you recognize in a relationship that you are doing all the work and all the labor, that it is not loving, that you don't feel cared for. It feels like it's a good thing when you reach hopelessness instead of that endless well of, well, maybe it'll turn around next week. I know it's been decades of misery, but maybe next week if I just stay. It's that hopefulness that they're taking advantage of. And so I feel like you've been learning about how to not relationship in this way. So, all right, that's your reading. I'm doing an extended reading on Patreon. So if this has been your reading and you want to continue on, there's a link in the description box below. It says extended reading here. You click on the link. It takes you right to part 2 on Patreon. And in part 2, I'm about halfway through the reading. We'll be looking at health, relationships, creativity, new opportunities, and career and finance. So I'll see you over there. If not, have an amazing rest of your day. Take care.